Do you mind if I record this? In 1998, Moises Kaufman, joined by his fellow members of the Tecctonic Theatre Group, set out to create a piece of media that was going to start conversations. It was different from other works in that not only did it use the words of the people who put it together, but the words of real, everyday people whose lives and thoughts and perspectives were shifted by the murder of 21-year-old gay university student Matthew Shepard. The piece of media is called the Laramie Project, and I had the opportunity to study the play this year in my theater class. The Laramie Project was formatted in a very intriguing way, like that of a documentary. It was produced by going into the town of Laramie, Wyoming, and conducting interviews with the people that lived there, and it gave them the opportunity to speak their truths. It got me thinking about opinions and conversations, and mainly voices and the people who do or do not use them. As much as we are told that freedom of speech is important and that opinions can't be wrong, we draw lines between what is considered a good opinion and a bad opinion. I'm brought to Reverend Fred Phelps' speech at Matthew's funeral and thinking about bad opinions.
You wouldn't be here if this was just another murder the state was going to deal with. The state deals with hundreds of murders every single day. But this murder is different, because the gays are bringing us out here to try to make Matthew Shepard a poster boy for the lifestyle. And we're going to answer it. It's just that simple.
I know that he's spewing hateful things, but why? Where is all this hate coming from? And then there are the people who don't speak up, out of fear. In the Laramie Project, we hear from people that we wouldn't have heard from otherwise, Sherry Johnson being one of those people.
Everybody's got problems, but why they exemplified him, I don't know. What's the difference if you're gay? A hate crime is a hate crime. If you murder somebody, you hate him. It has nothing to do with if you're gay or a prostitute or whatever. I don't understand it. I just don't understand.
She is someone I never would have heard from if not for this play. And while I don't agree with what she's saying, I think it's important to be said because there's probably someone out there who does agree with what she says, who feels the same amount of confusion that she does, and is too scared to say anything because they feel like their words are wrong because their thoughts go against what a majority has determined to be correct. I don't think it's helpful to anyone for others to just go along with what the majority thinks. It is vital for conversation to be had. That is the only way we're going to understand each other, the only way that we can move forward. Not speaking your truth out of fear is the same thing as sweeping the underlying issue under the rug. As witnessed by Zubida Ullah.
Come on, guys. Let's show the world that Laramie is not this kind of town. But it is that kind of town. If it wasn't that kind of town, then why did this happen here?
Your voice doesn't just go away because you've silenced it or ignored it. It continues to scream, whether it's to yourself or the world. When you feel ignored by everyone else, sometimes that screaming sounds like actual screaming, as displayed by the hateful speech of Reverend Fred Phelps. When you're feeling unheard by yourself, that screaming can sound like the disillusionment and distancing, as witnessed by Zubida Ullah. When being ignored by both yourself and society are combined and cultivated over generations, when your voices are repressed and silently justified, sometimes you end up with the vicious beating and robbery of a man who is the manifestation of something you've never understood and had learned to fear your entire life. Matthew Shepard was the victim of a silencing, but his death was more like an echo.
We are like this.
The Laramie Project was created to start conversations. It gave a voice to those who may have been too scared to speak at first, pulled out words that people didn't even know they had inside them. They talked, and they thought, and they listened, and they heard. And maybe, if only a little bit, they learned something. They understood.